At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Hey Atlanta, Apple is open for small business. That's right. We're here to make starting and running your business simpler. With privacy and security built in on all devices, it's easy for you to protect your customers' data. And if you need hardware or software support, you'll get advice from business experts at no cost whatsoever. So you can focus more on the soup du jour and less on, the other stuff. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
Don't miss out on the final football game of the season with Prize Picks. Join now because Prize Picks are giving away a free pick for the big game where 1 yard equals 1 win. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks app and use code FIELD and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code FIELD on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Take one of the most iconic anime characters of all time, with a long backstory, millions of fans around the world, and multiple animated shows and movies. Now take that property to the live-action world and cast your teenage main lead of a Japanese manga with an almost 30-year-old Canadian. We're off to a rough start already, as we try to prove to you that Dragon Ball Evolution is not that bad. Welcome one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Hello to all of our listeners in Madrid, Spain, and around the world. How you guys doing? Okay, so I need to put this out on Front Street right now. I don't necessarily watch a lot of anime. My kids do occasionally. My youngest does. I don't. I'm not opposed to it. I just never get around to it. But when Adam Corky from the Do You Watch Anime podcast shows up, I defer to him to ask him what movie we should cover. Yes, I'm throwing Adam under the bus here as I mentioned that he's the one who called out Dragon Ball Evolution. First of all, Adam, welcome back to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Maybe not after this movie, but I'm doing fantastic.
Now, you kind of hate watched Death Note the last time, but still found some good things to say about it here.
Yeah.
You're the one who picked Dragon Ball Evolution, and I mean, I'm game. I will literally watch anything. So why do you like to torture yourself so?
Well, when I was a young boy, that's Dragon Ball was my life. Like it was like I was shooting Kamehamehas in the schoolyard, and when I heard there was a live action, my little teenage brain at the time was like, "Whoa, this is gonna be so cool!" And then I watched it, and I went, "Oh no!" And that's the last time I saw it. And I was like, I want to put myself through torture again and see if it's actually that bad.
See, this is one of the things that I always fear when something from my childhood comes to the big screen, and it's either going to be really good or really not. I don't see anything in between. Like, there are properties I would love to see someone take a shot at it doing a live action film.
Mm-hmm.
You make a Mask film, count me in. But I'd be afraid that it'd be like Fast and the Furious, but worse. I am ever hopeful that somewhere down the road, someone's going to do a ROM Space Knight kind of live action.
Mm-hmm.
But the world, I don't think, is ready for that one. I think I'm the only one ready for that one at all. So having this as a part of your childhood, did you feel the lunchbox let down immediately? Or was it one of those things where after the fact you go, why?
So it's still true to this day. My favorite Dragon Ball character is Piccolo. And I think my childhood brain took one look at Piccolo and went, what did they do to my boy?
Yeah, I will admit that I was watching this. I'm like, oh, it's a Skrull.
Literally.
Yeah, it felt like it. And there's a few other things that we're going to have to say about this film.
Yeah.
But before we turn on our little DBE meters here and try to find the Dragon Ball energy from this film, it is time to take Dragon Ball Evolution and trailerize it.
What does every kid want for his 15th birthday? Certainly not an ass whooping and a shiny ball from his grandfather. Enter the world of Dragon Ball Evolution. Justin Chatwin is Goku, a kid with powers looking to avenge the death of his grandfather as he tries to find magical artifacts capable of altering worlds in reality. Along the way, he'll team up with a leather-clad badass babe with guns, a master of mystical arts, and a thief-turned-good guy. Then, after assembling his team and defying death by going to the astral plane, and holy crap, it's a goddamn Avengers film. It's freaking Dragon Ball Avengers. Together, they'll team up to stop Piccolo from... Well, I'm sorry. His name was Piccolo? The wimpiest of all flutes? The instrument that answers the question, what if a flute sucked 7 balloons full of helium? All right, cue the music. They'll look to stop the end of the world by grabbing all their balls and making a wish. Sit back and try not to cut me ha too loudly at this Cole's Notes adaptation. Justin Chatwin stars in Dragon Ball Evolution. Rated PG for Pasty Goku.
I think I broke out of a few times during that one.
Yep. Yep. Very much.
Now, I do want to point out, and I think Pasty Goku is probably the best way to address the entire casting situation of Justin Chatwin. I don't hold this against anybody because I do recognize that when this film came out, studios were putting recognizable North American actors in these films to sell it to the North American market. We're not here to call out, whitewashing of characters or whatever the case. They got cast in the film. They were in the film. We are basically looking at their performances and not trying to have some deep philosophical diatribe over the proper casting of what this should be. So I know there are podcasts out there that cover this. We ain't that. We're here for a good time, even if the good time includes Dragon Ball Evolution.
I think I just won my taxes.
Yeah?
I just switched to H&R Block in about 1 minute. All I had to do was drag and drop last year's return into H&R Block, and bam, my information is automatically there.
So I don't have to go digging around for all my old papers to switch?
Nope.
Sounds like we just leveled up our tax game.
Switching to H&R Block is easy. Just drag and drop your last return. It's better with Block.
But let's get into who is in this film. The movie stars Justin Chatwin, Jamie Chung, Emmy Rossum, Chow Yun-fat, June Park, Eriko Tamura, James Marsters, Randall Duck Kim, and somehow Ernie Hudson. However, there's an almost starring in this film. In the role of Piccolo, it was originally offered to Ron Perlman, who then said, nah, I'm going to go do Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Just goes to show that Ron Perlman is a smart man. But also considered for the role of Goku was Superman himself, Tom Welling from Smallville, which, I don't know. I mean, I liked him in Lucifer, but I don't know. I just don't know. Jamie Chung, who starred in this movie in the role of Chi-Chi, had actually auditioned for the role of Bulma, but she came out afterwards and said, no, they chose the right person. But in the role of Chi-Chi, the producer, Stephen Chow, originally wanted Yuki Zhang to play the role. And James Kyson from the movie Yes Day also auditioned for the role of Yamcha. The movie was directed by James Wong, who, since this film, has not directed a single film. Now, he has gone on to direct episodes of 911 and some other TV shows. And prior to this, he did direct Final Destination and The One. So it's not like he has bad films entirely under his filmography. It's just that he has not done a film since. However, this film was in development in 2002 and apparently being looked at to direct it at the time was George Lucas.
What?
According to IMDb, they were looking at Lucas to do this. I'm just trying to picture what a George Lucas directed Dragon Ball Evolution was going to be. Like, was it going to be more Star Wars or was it going to be Howard the Duck?
Yeah, like, oh my God.
You're trying to picture it now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to picture it. I literally cannot. I'm like, how is this?
I mean, there were scenes in this film where there was sand everywhere. I do understand and appreciate that, but now originally this film was supposed to have, because it was pitched to some of the actors as having a $120 million budget. Clearly they overstated that because the actual budget was $30 million. Domestically, it made only 9.3 and worldwide made $55.7 million. At the 2009 Golden Schmoes Awards, it was nominated for Worst Film of the Year, lost to Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And I hate to say it, I kind of agree with that one. And yeah. I'm a Transformers kid, speaking of things from my childhood that were made into live action films. But the reason why we are here, not because, Adam likes to torture himself, is the critics. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a tomatometer of 14% with a popcorn meter of 19%. But when you look at the bigger picture, it's a little scattershot in some very weird ways. At Metacritic, the film has a Metascore of 45. At IMDb, it has 2.5 stars out of 10 for a 25% rating. At the movie database, it sits at 29%. But, and I need to point this out here, because we have hit a brand spanking new low here on It's Not That Bad. Over at Letterboxd, I want to put this into perspective here. Of over 1 million films rated on Letterboxd, Dragon Ball Evolution is rated the lowest with 0.9 out of 5 stars for an 18% score. This is the bottom of the barrel out of over 1 million films on Letterboxd. How? Like, this is lower than 2 365 Days films and Mousetrap.
That's insane.
Yeah, this is...
I
Fans
wouldn't
didn't
say
like
that
this.
much, but geez, oh my God.
So if you're ever wondering what the answer to the trivia question is of what is the worst film on Letterboxd, ladies and gentlemen, Adam found that film. But that said, this film then has an aggregate of 25%. So Adam, if I say to you 25% for Dragon Ball Evolution, where are you? If that's your over-under, are you over or under on that?
Honestly, it's kind of like, I'm a little bit under. I'm not like hating it. Well, no, I do hate it. I'm not like 5%. I'm like probably like 19, 20%.
I mean, I can see that. I mean, that kind of falls into that, the popcorn meter of 19% for this film. But yeah, so to answer your question, do you watch anime? You're like, yes, but.
Yeah.
this is the but. This is,
yeah.
So let's get to the breakdown of this film. We're going to start with Justin Chatwin as Goku. So again, this is from your childhood. Hashtag, is this your Goku?
No, no, it's not even his Goku. When Akira Toriyama passed away last year, he put out a statement saying, "I am so sorry for what I did." And I was like, you know what? I respect that. But yeah, it's not, there's so many times, like I watched this like yesterday morning as we're recording. The first thing I watched was this. And there was many times where I went, Goku wouldn't do that. Like, that's no.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I go into this with absolutely no understanding of the lore or of these characters or how they're supposed to be. And we had this conversation when we did the Death Note episode, because your favorite character was L and my least favorite character was L, mainly because you knew what he was like from the anime and I had no idea. So I actually had that I had that conversation in my head as I was watching this, and I was like, okay, did they watch the anime? Because I didn't. So this is one of my questions I'm going to be asking you probably frequently throughout the show is this the Goku from the anime and the manga? Clearly not.
There are some parts where I'm like, okay, that's pretty Goku. Like there's one shot where he's eating an entire turkey leg on a street. And I was like, that's the most Goku thing I've ever seen. And because just all he does is eat and train. That's it. And yeah, there's...
I mean, as I'm watching this, it felt like two different Gokus. There's the one where I could see where you could almost see like anime type of mannerisms. Like when he's trying to emote, is very serious and looking off into the middle third. And I'm like, okay, maybe this is the Goku. And then there's other parts where I'm like, why didn't you just hire Seth Green? Because you kind of feel like you wanted Seth Green, but this is what you got. I mean, I understand that they are filming in a bunch of green screens in some abandoned jeans factory because that's where they filmed this. Apparently, this is where they filmed this.
Incredible.
Oh,
you can
dear God.
definitely tell.
Like at times he's completely cocky and cocksure, and at other times he's deadly serious and clearly acting like he's in an animated film. Which Goku worked for you out of this?
Is it bad that I'm like none?
but no, it's a legit answer though, because you can have like the completely over the top acting that you would see in some animes, and you could have the very serious acting that you see in some animes. I'm just trying to figure out which one is actually the most Goku like.
Yeah, the most Goku like is Goku is a goofy guy. He is not serious unless you really mess with him. Like,
okay,
there were some points where I was like, okay, you're too serious. Like, calm down. Like, chill.
So for the unanime educated on this, you're looking for something more like a Monkey D. Luffy kind of performance from One Piece, as opposed to deadly serious.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that being said, please no more emoting for Goku. Do not do that anymore.
Yeah.
Emmy Rossum, who played Bulma. Now, I was excited because I love a good disaster film. So the fact that Emmy Rossum's in this, and of course she was in The Day After Tomorrow, I was like, great, this is going to be awesome. And then she started talking. I'm like, what the hell did you do to your voice? It's like she ran 17 laps before every scene because her voice is so breathy. But it held throughout the whole thing. So I'm wondering how close this is to Bulma, because apparently she actually did a ton of research and gun training for this.
To be honest, that was probably my favorite. She was probably my favorite part of the movie. Because like, again, Bulma was my childhood crush growing up. So honestly, she did a very good job for what she was given.
Yeah. I look at this, and because we've covered the live action Speed Racer on this show before, and I'm like, okay, if I'm watching that, I know that I'm trying to remember back to what, the Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon cartoons of Speed Racer was like. And I'm like, okay, I can kind of see this kind of, very trippy Wachowski's performance kind of thing, or directorial performance. Bulma would fit into that. Bulma fits into this. And because it's a very, very bright, very CGI performance, Bulma works in this. And I also like the fact that she puts literally everyone in their place.
Yeah, that happens. She is the anchor for every time. Like, literally, every time Goku is stupid as hell, she is like, please, just stop.
That's the thing. I like this. And at first, I'm like, this is not good. This is not what I'm expecting. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, Emmy Rossum kind of won me over with this. Like, it's a very animated, lifelike character that has some badassery. It carries all the way through. There's no, one day you're doing this and the next day you're doing this kind of thing with the character. Bulma works. Bulma is, like you said, very much the glue of this entire film. And I really liked her. And I didn't think I was going to, but I think Jamie Chung was right in that Emmy Rossum was a very good Bulma. But since we're talking Jamie Chung, let's talk about Chi-Chi. Your thoughts on her?
So, Chi-Chi is not who this character is in the movie at all. except when she kicks Goku's butt. That is the only time that I was like, okay, that's Chi-Chi. Like she did a fantastic job with what she was given, but it's not Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi literally kicks Goku's butt anytime she gets the chance to, because turns out he's a bad husband. He's a bad dad, because all he wants to do is train and eat. That's all.
Here's the interesting thing, because I'm watching this thing again. I'm watching this as a complete and utter noob, so bear with me here. First of all, I found Jamie Chung to be like entirely like mesmerizing on screen. What she was doing, I'm like, cool, I want more of her on this. I thought she was really good. And they were building her up to be this badass fighter. And I'm sure this is one of those things where, you know, had there been sequels, they would have had more for Jamie Chung and Chi-Chi because they're building her up in this way, but not in a way that takes away from the badassery that is Bulma. I like the fact that both Chi-Chi and Bulma are badass in their own ways. But that being said, if you're building a character up to be so talented at fighting, give her someone to fight. I mean, yes, there's that scene where she's fighting, technically speaking, herself, even though it's a shapeshifter. But like, let her cook.
Yeah, straight up.
Also, and I need to say this, I wonder if they were looking at George Lucas to direct this in 2002, because this has to be the least amount of chemistry between two characters who are supposed to be romantically interested together since Padme and Anakin. Like, how? There is nothing about Goku that Chi-Chi should want.
No.
At all.
Which is kind of perfect for Dragon Ball.
Okay, so that actually makes sense then.
Yeah, because the way they get together is kind of funny, because in the first Dragon Ball, which when he's a kid, he meets Chi-Chi as a kid, and they're like, if we're not married, we should like get together. And then at the end of the series, she comes back and she's like, I'm ready. And he's like, I guess.
Oh, Goku.
Yeah.
But I there's the thing, right? This is going to obviously play towards people who like Dragon Ball and the franchise, but you're also trying to bring in new viewers. Yeah. And I will say this, because with Death Note, I felt like they kind of set up the world very, very well, right? Like, I didn't have to know Death Note to understand what the hell was going on in Death Note. That made sense to me. I knew nothing about Dragon Ball, and this movie said, F you, we're going to throw it all at you right off the bat in the first place.
Literally. Like, I will say the opening scene where like him and his grandpa are training did make me motion sick, because it was just so like, you know, flailing arms. And I'm like, I was like, like,
okay. So don't watch Hardcore Henry then. I'm just putting it out there.
I love that movie.
Oh, it's a great movie, but if you suffer motion sickness from films, don't watch Hardcore Henry. Yeah, no, I feel bad, because I felt like Jamie Chung could have been so much more in this film, because she had the goods. She had what this film needed, but the film didn't have what she needed.
Yeah.
Chow Yun-Fat as Master Roshi. Okay. Adam, I'm going to let you take this one here.
That's my boy. That's my pervy man. So in the anime, he is 100% the perviest character on planet Earth. Kind of like that they toned it down a little bit. Not going to lie. Would have been really weird. They did a little like, you know, oh, there's the bikini magazine. I went, haha. But yeah, I think he did a fantastic job as Master Roshi. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I mean, like, I did a little bit of research into like how the characters were supposed to look and stuff like that. Roshi looked, I think, the most like the anime character until the point when Goku put on the vest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he looked like he should have been Master Roshi. And there were points where it's like, you know, where he is all happy, and then he finds out that that Gohan is dead, and then all of a sudden his mood changes. I'm like, that feels like the kind of acting you would have seen in an anime scene where it's like just instantly changes on a dime. And knowing that Roshi is a bit of a perv makes the whole motorcycle scene even funnier now.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where I'm like, I have to remind myself that it's an anime. I have to remind myself it's an anime. And Chow Yun-Fat, like I would expect more stoicness from this, but I kind of enjoyed some of it. But he was another character that went from goofy, kind of pervy, kind of fun to watch to all of a sudden very serious. Like, is that Roshi? Like the switch to the serious side?
No, there's like, it's a little bit like when he's fighting, like trying to train Goku, he's a little bit, but like he is always goofy.
Okay, so you had half of a good Roshi then.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure where we're at here, because that's the thing. I'm learning from this. I'm actually appreciating covering some of these films and diving into genres that I don't normally watch, because it introduces me to what I think I know, and then I get to learn a bit more. So it actually is fun discovery for me. June Park, who played Yamcha, and Adam all of a sudden is breathing a sigh of frustration here. So in reading up on Yamcha, and I was just, again, trying to learn a bit more about the character, he apparently has a fear of women until Bulma kind of breaks him of that. He didn't seem very fearful of her at all in this.
No. So basically, it's an ongoing joke in the Dragon Ball fandom that Yamcha is the biggest loser. The biggest loser, which he is. I'm not even going to deny that. He is the biggest loser. Like, Bulma never feels any feelings for him. Ever. And when they were like trying to get them together, I was like, don't you dare. Don't you dare. I was like, that's the whole joke, where he cannot, like, he swings and he misses all the time. Constantly, even when she's married to another character. Like,
okay, because it really felt that hint of a relationship felt very rushed and shoehorned in. So I'm glad that I'm not misreading that at all. Like,
no,
if they were supposed to be in the film or in the manga as a couple, then I'm like, okay, so you're hinting at something in future films. Okay, so no. He
got the voice down perfectly. Like, literally, Yamcha sounds like a dude. Like he literally just sounds dumb for a reason, because he is. And he's useless, which is great. But yeah, he got the voice down, was great. Like, I liked him, but not as
I feel like the show should be changed. I liked it, but because I'm watching him and I'm listening to his voice in this, and I'm like, holy crap, it's Thanos from Squid Game season 2, and that is all of a sudden where. I couldn't get the purple hair out of my head and the bad rapping out of my head from Squid Game season 2. But yeah, Yamcha did bring a bit more life to, and I think he actually did pair fairly well with Emmy Rossum on screen. So it's not like I could see those two characters not finding each other interesting enough to even think about a relationship. But if the relationship's not supposed to happen, then movies shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was waiting for her husband in the show to show up, because he is the most ridiculous anime hair, like straight up. And he's like 5'6". He's shorter than Bulma is in the show. So I was waiting for him. I was like, he's not going to show up. He doesn't show up. I'm like, what? And then they did the romance, and I was like, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't do this.
Movie does bad things with characters.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad things to characters, Lord Piccolo, as played by James Marsters. So this is your Megatron. Lord Piccolo. Discount Skrull. Your thoughts?
When I say I'm deeply offended by this, everything about Piccolo in this movie, I don't remember if they say his race of alien. I think they said it wrong completely. And that, I think I wrote that down, where it was like, I don't think that's right. And like, yes, he's serious all the time. Like, that's his like shtick, is like, he's a straight man. He's a straight man to Goku. It's great. Because originally in the original like run of Dragon Ball, he is a bad guy, and then he turns good. and becomes basically Goku's son's actual father because Goku is out training and not, being a good dad. So Piccolo steps in. But again, he looks like a Skrull or a Star Trek character or something that isn't of this universe. And I just was just like, and he was just so boring. It was just, I was like, why are you here?
I was watching this and seeing the makeup and all that. And I'm like, you feel like you got transported out of One Punch Man for this, or something like Jupiter's Legacy. Because even though I didn't mind that show, some of the prosthetic work is, but, and I'm watching this and I'm trying to, because I'm very much a believer that the villain makes the film in any kind of superhero or supernatural or any kind of heroic type film. And this has to be the most useless, do nothing villain that I have seen in a film in a long time. And I, in a previous episode of Keep Watch Pass, went off on the MCU for what the hell they did with Malekith in Thor: The Dark World. But I'm telling you right now, Christopher Eccleston in that is way better than Piccolo in this. Like, he gets all the Dragon Balls or Infinity Stones or whatever the hell you want to call them, makes some weird Dr. Manhattan tower from Mars on Earth, and that's it. He gets his ass handed to him in like 0.7 seconds. Meanwhile, literally, May is the one going out and doing all the work. Like, this is supposed to be your Thanos. No, this is like, even in the show, like, he's a stepping stone for a bigger villain down the line. Like, he's not supposed to be that big bad. Like, he's just like a guy. He's just a Namekian. Like, he's just Piccolo. I love him, but and this show, like, the series has so many amazing villains that they could have picked from. Like, Frieza is the main villain in all of, like, the villain, and nothing. Like, Frieza has so much like charisma, and like, going from like Frieza, who is amazing, to Piccolo, who is just straight, He's the assistant regional manager. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is partly why people lost their ish on Justice League, because you have all this stuff leading up to Darkseid, and then all of a sudden it's like, but we're going to send you Steppenwolf. Who? Magic Carpet Ride, dude? Who? No. Like, if you're into DC Comics and you know who Steppenwolf is, then okay, maybe. But no, if you're trying to hit at the broadest possible market for any kind of franchise, give them, or at least hint towards, the big bad that you want the hero to get to. I didn't even know any of these other villains existed because there was no reference to them. Piccolo just comes in, I want your Dragon Balls, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm not going to get the Dragon Balls from you myself. I'm going to send May, played by Eriko Tamura. And I actually liked her in this. Yeah, she's an original character. She did not exist in Dragon Ball. So this is kind of like if you're watching Avengers Infinity War. Thanos sent out the Black Order in order to be able to get the rest of the Infinity Stones. May kind of does that here, where she's the one actually going and doing all the dirty work, while Piccolo stands up in some discount Slave 1 knockoff saying, I need these Dragon Balls. Again, give her more to do. She is literally that quiet henchwoman that gets ish done. And I have no problems with a new character being brought in for some kind of franchise, right? You want to kind of put a little bit of a signature on it. Okay. And that way you're not handcuffed to the original source material. So there's no frame of reference. So if Piccolo is, as you like to say, the assistant regional manager to some of the better villains, then you can put in some kind of henchwoman like May and let them cook a little bit. And Eriko did that with this film, for all of its faults. And the people over at Letterboxd apparently have many faults to give it, like all the faults.
Yep.
This film knew what it was doing when it was putting together good, solid female characters who did exactly what they were there to do and more.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Badassery in female form in this film. So no matter what you say about this movie, the female characters rocked.
Yeah. They were the best part.
Yeah, absolutely. And, from my very limited knowledge of anime, that's definitely a good thing because you have multiple franchises that lean towards strong female characters.
Yeah. They did all what Dragon Ball is not about. It's great. Yeah.
Oh, boy. So taking a positive out of a negative?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, we are trying to find good things to say about it.
Yeah.
And in that sense, you can sit there and say strong female characters, even though the main characters are all male.
Yeah.
Randall Duck Kim, who played Grandpa Gohan in this, he seemed fun to me.
Yeah. He was there. He was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. It feels like a Mr. Miyagi, but like much more sarcastic and much more of a poultry fan with his cooking. Like there's really not. Here's the downside to this. And again, you are with the North American audience, you are creating, or at least hoping to create, a franchise and introduce it to people who may not be familiar with Dragon Ball. Maybe they saw the show on Saturday morning or in the afternoons after school on like YTV or whatever the case may be. We didn't really get to know Gohan enough to really give a damn when he died.
No, that's that's the thing. Even even in Dragon Ball, like the first one where he does, pass away, it's kind of abrupt as well. So it's like, I honestly forgot he had a grandpa because I watched Dragon Ball when I was a kid. I had to Google. I was like, is this a character?
That's not a good thing.
No.
Okay. Dear movie, if someone who hosts a podcast literally called Do You Watch Anime? And he's got to look up if the character actually exists. You did nothing with that character. And that's a shame because Randall Duck Kim brought a very likable performance. The same way that Pat Morita did with Mr. Miyagi. And I hate to draw those comparables, but it's hard not to.
Yeah, totally. And like it made me realize, oh, that's why he named his son Gohan. I'm like, okay, because he's a nice, cool grandpa to an asshole kid. Like,
yeah. I mean, you take a look at the Harry Potter franchise, right? And I recognize it's two different worlds, but bear with me here, right? When someone died in any Harry Potter film, it's because we got to know the character enough so the death meant something. You spent all your time showing Goku awkwardly trying to talk to Chi-Chi and then dance fighting with a bunch of guys at a party. Meanwhile, Grandpa Gohan is getting his ass kicked in his house with the rest of the house getting his ass kicked as well.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so he's coming back to no food. Okay. Like, and there's no real mourning except for, actually burying him and barely any tears. And then goes back to the house. Bulma's there and we're off to the races. It's time to go on an adventure. Subtlety, this film is not.
No. When I actually burst out laughing when like it was the shot where it pans up the gravesite to Goku, and I'm like, did he just bury his own grandpa and like sticks and rocks? And like, I'm like, am I supposed to feel sad?
Here's the thing. You can have that scene in a film and it works. All you got to do is watch Logan. Okay. Because X-23 buried Logan under a pile of rocks and tipped the little cross over to an X. And we had the perfect ending to the Foxverse. And then they made the New Mutants. But here, And I'm fine with him showing a little bit of emotion there. But at this point, it's like, okay, but I don't care enough about this character to care enough about this scene.
Yeah.
Gohan has done nothing except for be a little goofy and kick Goku's ass in the beginning.
Yeah.
For me to know much more about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, and there was one little thing that I at the start where I went, uh-oh, this ain't Goku, where Grandpa is preparing the food and he's like, I gotta go see Chi-Chi. And I was like, no way. Goku would eat all of that food as fast as he could and would not waste any food at all.
I get the feeling if we gave you $30 million, you could make a much better Dragon Ball film.
Yeah, easily.
All right. Dear listeners, please send all of your money over to Adam over at the Do You Watch Anime podcast if you want a real Dragon Ball film. There we go.
Yeah.
Here for a short time and probably not a good time, somehow Ernie Hudson as Sifu Norris. And I have to say somehow because I'm like watching along and I saw his name in the credits. I'm like, Ernie, is there another Ernie Hudson that I don't know about?
Literally, I was watching it and one of my roommates came out of the room and she was like, is that the guy from Ghostbusters as a monk? And I was like, I paused it, rewound, and I went, oh my God.
Now, I need to put this out there, okay? Chow Yun-Fat aside, because Chow Yun-Fat's filmography doesn't have to answer to anybody. His legend it's written already.
Mm-hmm.
Emmy Rossum on the come up, all good, but she doesn't have. You have Ernie Hudson in this film. You have Winston Zeddemore in this film. You got the cop from The Crow. And I'm fine because that's, we're talking like a religious experience here, meeting someone from the dead. So maybe he became a monk after that. Sure. But if you have Ernie Hudson in this film, maybe give him more than 2 scenes. Because I'm sure you're paying him a good amount of money if your minimal $30 million set or budget. Yeah. But really?
I just have Ernie Hudson play all the characters at that point.
It'd be such a good film.
Yeah. Sign me up for that.
But there's the thing. It's like all of a sudden Chow Yun-Fat goes over to this other master and says, and it's Ernie Hudson. So you have Chow Yun-Fat and Ernie Hudson in the same scene and you barely do anything with it.
Yeah.
Like, here's a chance for you to put in an identifiable in the North American market actor in a role that hopefully in future movies will become a bit of a bigger role. And it's not like Ernie Hudson did a bad job.
No.
He barely had a job to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was like, he had lines. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, he had more lines than some actors in some films. Like I look at Alexa Pena Vega, who was in Machete Kills and also Sin City. I think it was Sin City, Name to Kill For. She had like one line over 2 films. That's it.
Jesus.
Like, and she's a great actress. All you have to do is watch Repo the Genetic Opera.
Yeah.
Right? You have Christopher Lee show up, say one line, and get paid lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
You have Ernie Hudson. And I recognize Ernie Hudson is not the biggest name outside of Ghostbusters fandom.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a gem of an actor. Yeah. And every time he's on screen, I have yet to see an Ernie Hudson performance that I didn't like. Even in films that were crap.
Yep.
Ernie Hudson is always a delight on the screen.
Absolutely.
So if you have this tool in your kit, this weapon in your arsenal, maybe use it once in a blue moon. It's not like they got the Ghostbusters they don't know Answer the Call in this. No, you have Ernie Hudson.
Yeah. That's my favorite Ghostbuster. Straight up.
He is. He's a gem. I mean, that Harold Ramis aside.
Yeah, of course.
Because, Spengler.
Yeah.
The CGI in this film. Adam, you can't run away from the microphone. You can't.
Oh my God. I want to so badly.
I need to remind you, you picked your poison in this.
I did. This is all self-induced.
And it's not like we can sit there and say, but it was a while ago. It was in 2009. And I have to remind viewers and listeners, that we had Iron Man in 2008, and that film we had Jurassic Park in the 90s, and that looked realistic. This film I would compare to Mortal Kombat. And that came out in 95.
Yeah.
I recognize that you only have a $30 million budget. And I recognize everything is green screen. But dear God, put a little bit more money into it.
Yeah, there was one scene that I went, I can see the green screen. It was when Goku and Chi-Chi kind of meet up at the because she's at like this tournament thing.
Yes.
You're like, whoa, you're here, and it just like flashes for a second, but I was like, oh my God. I can't.
Maybe render with the right frame rate, people.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh.
But it takes you out of this. Yeah. I mean, the prosthetics on Piccolo were not good.
No.
The prosthetics on Goku when he changes to some like wannabe Ginger Snaps werewolf. Not good.
No.
Not good. And some of the chase scenes, it takes away from your ability to enjoy it. And I recognize that probably the majority of the audience going to see this are, at least at the time, because it is rated PG-13, or sorry, just PG, it's not even PG-13.
Yeah.
Are kids who watched the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
But just because you're aiming it at kids doesn't mean that you need to skimp on things, like making it look good. Speed Racer, for all the drugs that you need to be on to follow that film at times, looks fantastic. This, not so much.
No.
I mean, it's not Mortal Kombat 2 bad.
No.
Because that is I am dreading the day to do that episode. And I know it's coming one day. The first one had its charms.
Yeah.
That one doesn't look like it has any charms whatsoever.
No.
We'll be lucky to find charms in that one.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think there are charms in this film.
Mm-hmm.
I do. But when you have scenery and CGI work that takes you out of the film, it's hard to latch on to those. Like, Did you find yourself watching this going, was this a student project?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially the Kamehameha scene with Chi-Chi and Goku. That, I was like, first of all, not how that works. Not how Chi works in Dragon Ball at all. Second of all, Goku would not even go near Chi-Chi, be like, oh, if you get this, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, I got to get this to be better.
That feels like the Flash saying, I need to go faster.
Yeah.
For an entire season on the CW. I need to go faster. Yeah. I need to go faster. Here, it's like, I need to like push air faster, which I'm sorry. Like, are we casting another white guy in an airbender film? Because it kind of looked like we did.
Yeah.
Based on some characters in this, I could see myself in, going and diving into some of the shows.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know if there is a want at this point for another live action attempt at Dragon Ball.
No.
But with the success of things like Cowboy Bebop and One Piece, and you have streaming services that are now looking at those anime and manga properties and say, well, maybe we can do something with this and put it on a streaming service. Do you see a Dragon Ball live action series or movie working on a streaming service? And do you even want that if this is what we started with?
I honestly don't see it happening again. Just because Toriyama's world is so like, it's so encompassing of the like art of animation that it is going, even One Piece was I think a fluke to be so good, because there's some things in Dragon Ball that you cannot do in live action. Like the fights are not going to look the same as we saw at the end, which made me so mad. And like it just needs that kind of animation touch to kind of feel grand, because Dragon Ball is just it's universally large. And I think to kind of, because when we have a live action adaptation, it kind of brings the world to be a bit smaller, right? A bit, not like, I'm trying to think, because like One Piece didn't do that. But again, I just don't see it working. I don't know.
Okay. Let's turn it around here, because obviously you're never going to use this as the base for branching out on anything. But let us say, for argument's sake, that you had the ability to go back in time to 2009 and recast this. Are there actors that you would keep, and who would you put in different roles?
I would keep Emmy as Bulma, 100%. I would keep. Honestly, I'd keep most of them except for Goku. I'll be honest. If they just had a better script and better kind of characterization, I guess, I think it could have been something. Oh, yeah. Take out Piccolo, please. Take out Piccolo. Actually, yeah. I take that back. Take out Piccolo. Kick him as far as possible. Was it May, his sidekick? Or yeah, put May on the Frieza squad, and we're good. Like, put Vegeta in there, and we'll be off to the races. And there's also Goku's best friend isn't even in this, which I thought he was going to pop up as a monk because he bald, but nope.
But
yeah, I honestly, the casting was pretty good, except for Goku.
So I guess the question then becomes, who would you put into the role of Goku if not Justin Chatwin?
That's again so hard.
Because I mean, I know there were a lot of they had like a fan, poll. It's like, who would you put in? Obviously, most people said like a young Jackie Chan would have worked well had it been done, or had Jackie Chan been obviously a bit younger. Obviously, maybe an Ernie Reyes.
Yeah,
I could possibly see that. Because you need someone who's able to fight, clearly. But I mean, it's got to be tough though, and I think this is where some of the harshness can come from. Is that when people love these franchises, they have this image in their mind of who should be in that role and who definitely shouldn't be in that role. And no matter who you put in that role, some are going to be like, okay, I can see it, and others are going to be the
yeah,
right. I mean, take a look at every time someone is cast as Batman. Right? Michael Keaton did a damn good Batman.
Yeah.
But when he was cast, we were like, whoa. Mr. Mom is Batman? Right?
Yeah.
No. Most people in the Christopher Nolan Batman films, they were happy. They were served. Right? Batfleck initially got a little bit of pushback, but ended up being the best part of Batman v Superman. Or at least one of the best parts. Right? Robert Pattinson.
That's my favorite one.
But when he was cast, people had visions of like pale ass Twilight boy in the cowl, and then it comes out and it's like, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. The problem is, if the script itself didn't understand who the character was, it doesn't matter what Justin Chatwin did.
Oh, no, not at all.
Which is unfortunate, because despite best efforts, and like I said, just to someone who doesn't know, but just knows that it comes from an anime, and so they put themselves in the right mindset, they might sit there and say, you know what, he did a good job, if they don't know the character.
Yeah.
The script didn't give him the ability to push back against those who knew what the character was supposed to be. So I feel bad for actors like Justin Chatwin, because
totally.
It's a losing proposition. You get this big role in this supposed big budget film, and you're doomed to failure before you even step on set in an abandoned jeans factory.
So good.
And I feel bad for the actors who thought this was going to have a $120 million budget, and it turns out it's only 30.
Yeah.
Like, that means you're fighting against your production the entire time and maybe not putting your all into it. Right. Like, I'm sure there's an effort difference between a $120 million film and a $30 million film, because actors are going to sit there and say, they're putting $120 million into this. I better not f it up. And I could never understand, because I'm not an actor. I could never understand the pressure that some of these actors have. And I know some of the actors said, like Emmy Rossum came out and said it was hard to find roles after this film. And you're saying she's one of the best parts of the film.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, because she is a good actor.
She is.
Oh, man. So, to all the people over at Letterboxd, don't be so harsh on this film, because I think there are silver linings in this film. There's no way this is worse than some of the films that are ranked over it. But I also understand that if it's not the property that you know, it's not going to be worth your time. It's a fair statement, but I don't think it's as bad as ratings would have it. I don't know if I would put it as high up as 45, where Metacritic has it.
God, no.
But I think IMDb and the movie database sitting around that 25 to 29, maybe 30%. That's a fair statement, because there are some good parts to this. It's ambitious, even if it is a little lacking. All right, Adam, we get to the hard part, though. Who is, and I think I know, but who is your MVP of Dragon Ball Evolution?
Definitely the chicken leg that Goku ate in the middle of the street.
It did look very medieval times tasty.
It did. And I was like, I said, I swear to God, that's the most Goku thing he's ever done in this movie. But it's Bulma. Bulma's the MVP.
Yeah. Emmy Rossum is definitely my MVP. Jamie Chung, had she been given more to do, and with the performance that she was putting on screen, because early on, I'm like, it's going to be Jamie Chung. I usually have a good idea right off the bat who my MVP is going to be, but there's not enough for her to do. You know, and if Jamie Chung is losing it to Emmy Rossum in the MVP battle, I think even she would agree, because the character Bulma does feel like the heart of the movie in a film that Bulma's not the main character.
Yeah.
So 2 for 2, Emmy Rossum, the MVP. Adam, thank you so much for this. Now, before we go, I want to give you the mic. Okay. So you can A, apologize for making me watch this film, but B, tell all of our listeners about the Do You Watch Anime podcast and where they can find you out there on the interwebs.
Yeah, totally. So again, apologies for making you watch this. I wanted to see how bad it actually was. But oh God.
But you know what though? I love a challenge. So Adam, you are more than welcome back whenever you want. You pick the film no matter what, and I will watch it.
Oh boy, there's some bad ones. So yeah, you can follow me I am on every podcast streaming site and YouTube at Do You Watch Anime? It's a show where I sit down with a guest every week and ask them, do you watch anime? And we go from there. I've had cosplayers and voice actors and my mom on it, and it's a great show and I love it. And you can follow me on Instagram at Corky Cosplays, Adam Corky everywhere else. And yeah, that's me. Thank you so much again.
Oh, dude, you are more than welcome back anytime. It's always a pleasure when you're on. And to you, our dear listeners, thank you so much for listening to us get through this episode of Dragon Ball Evolution. But you know what? I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you guys do actually give this film a chance to watch it. It is available on Disney Plus, so give it a chance. Like, don't just take our word for it.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. And then you too can hop over to Letterboxd and knock it down a few more notches. But until next time, you guys know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned or is just so bad that there is no way in a CGI universe that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadCast or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out our music-related shows, There Can Only Be One and Spin, Shuffle, Skip. And be prepared, because coming very, very soon, at the end of February, the last Wednesday of February, our look at the movies nominated for Worst Film of the Year at the Razzies and our Grading on a Curve special. Until next time, he's Adam, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.